Touring the Web by J.B. Burke. J.B. grew up in Chicago and graduated from Illinois Institute of Technology in 1963. He moved to Silicon Valley in 1968 and worked for IBM and others for 36 years. He moved to Prescott, Arizona with his wife, Nita, in 2004 and is currently president of the Prescott Computer Society and secretary of the board of his neighborhood homeowners association. He also provides tech support for friends and neighbors. Oh. JB dabbles in photography. He's a member of tech committee of Yavapai College, which is a lifelong learning program, and he teaches occasional lifelong learning classes. Otherwise, he is retired. Tonight, JB will serve up another carefully researched and finely tuned program of special topics. You will learn many useful, interesting, unusual, educational, humorous, and ancient chunks of knowledge that you have just never thought of. Now you don't have to, because JB has thunk them all up for you. So it is my great pleasure to introduce to you tonight, J.B. Burke.
This is something this started quite a long time ago. I started doing something with the Prescott Computer Society called Special Topics, where I would go through stuff that I had pulled off the internet over the previous couple of months and put together a program. Ended up getting changed to Touring the Web. It's all stuff that I find when I'm reviewing things while I'm eating lunch and so forth. It's Touring the Web number 10 right now. It's actually would have been Special Topics number 80. I've been doing this for quite a while. So let me just get started here. This is something I found the other day. It was the front page of the New York Times last Thursday. And you noticed amongst all the political stuff and everything up at the top there, it says the East Coast is sinking. And I thought that was kind of interesting. So I did a little research on that. And what I found was a number of articles, but this one was from USA Today. Satellite images show that the East Coast, since of course with the satellites, they can measure the level of the ground using lasers and so forth. So they're finding that the East Coast is sinking faster than they thought. Problem is that there's hot spots of sinking underneath roads and buildings and airports and all kinds of things. Significant areas of critical infrastructure, including JFK, LaGuardia, runways, railway systems, and so forth. And they're sinking at the rate of more than 2 millimeters a year. It doesn't sound like very much, but give it a little while, and all of a sudden you're going to have problems with buildings, foundations, all kinds of things. So there's the link. Now, by the way, I will, after this is done, I will change this into a PDF and send it along. And you'll have all of these links built in, so you don't need to make notes necessarily, because all of the links will be live in the PDF. Here's an image from one of the articles, from the article in USA Today, John F. Kennedy Airport, showing with a list there showing the colors of what parts of the airport are sinking the most. Looks like all of it is sinking somewhat, and some areas worse than others. So something that they're going to have to be concerned about. So now things will go along here totally different as we go. I mean, this is just not one single thing we're doing here. We're doing a whole bunch of individual things. I thought this was an interesting one. I found this statistics on U.S. train derailments. It looks like back in the late 70s and 1980 timeframe, there were up over 9,000 derailments a year. I don't know what happened in the meantime, whether there was that much reduction in train traffic or something happened that made things safer, but it came down substantially down to the 2020, this is 2022 statistics. So if you're on a train, you're less likely to be derailed now than you would have been back in 1980, just so you'll know. Now, here's something that's very important to keep in mind. if you happen to be planning to do time travel, now, I don't know how many of you folks in Sarasota have time machines, but in Prescott, they're fairly rare. We don't very often have time travel machines here. But if you do, this article has some advice about, in fact, you're going to somewhere around England, France, Germany, and Northern Italy between the 1000 and 1400. Things to keep in mind. One is that you'll very likely get sick because the biome, the water, the food, everything is going to be not good for you. You're very likely to get sick. Carry a dagger because crime is very, very rampant. And dress as if you're either a merchant or a pilgrim to try to maintain a low profile. Just one of those things, just in case you decide to do time travel. But there's an article with quite a lot more advice about that. Makes interesting reading, even though I suspect we're not going to get there. Here's a sign, this Bored Panda, this website for this one, Bored Panda, all kinds of interesting things. Why are you littering? I am a jerk. I don't care about natural areas. Mommy still cleans up after me, all of the above. So just another attempt to get people not to litter. There's all kids, a regular old do not litter sign may not be working very well. This may get a little result here. Now, the sun's surface is much more well known now than it was a few years back before the satellites and the satellites that we've sent to the sun. There are now satellites revolving around the sun, taking incredible pictures. There's a video here that shows the sun rotating over 3 hours with the plasma trapped in the sun's magnetic fields, hundreds of miles or kilometers above the surface. And this is all now a 5K high-resolution solar movie comprising 246 images over the course of about 3 hours. So let's see how this goes. This will be the first little video that I've got going here. Can you hear the sound?
Yes.
So from not too long ago, when we just saw this little circle in the sky that warmed us up on summer days and so forth, now we're getting to look a real close view at exactly what's going on the surface of it. It doesn't look like a good place to visit, but something to just help to increase our knowledge a bit of the universe. Here's some more statistics. Average annual wages. This is as of May 2022. Average annual wages for physicians and surgeons. Top end cardiologists take care of our hearts, so that's something that's good to know that they're getting well paid. But they're the people that get the highest pay. 421,330 is our average salary, and then orthopedic surgeons, pediatric surgeons, and so forth. Again, this will all be in there. What I will probably do is take the images out, but the link will take you to these same images on the internet when you go checking through it. All the way down to the family medicine and the general pediatricians down at the bottom there. More the ones that we see regularly that we like to not be able to we're better off not to have to go to a cardiologist, of course, but it's good to know that they're highly rated. Oops. All right. Now here's something completely different again. Here's 11 free movie streaming sites with no sign-on requirements. Like many people, a couple of years ago, we gave up the cable type stuff. We got rid of direct TV. We had the satellite and so forth. The satellite actually is still there, but we canceled that service and we went over to streaming. So I've got the TV in the living room and a couple other TVs all connected through our Wi-Fi and through our cabling to the internet. So streaming services, I don't think it saved us any money, but it gave us a vastly bigger selection of things to watch and networks to go to. But this is just a bunch of those that you can sign up with you can get onto with no signups and therefore not having to pay for it. So the first one is YouTube. Many channels to watch legal movies and shows. These are all things that you can add to your smart TV or to your Roku or whatever set-top box you've got. So YouTube has lots of stuff. That's one of the things I did sign up for, was because I use these in some of the presentations. I signed up for YouTube Pro version, so I pay for it, but I don't get the commercials. Another one is Crackle. Has movies, streaming sites, and so forth. Doesn't ask you to sign up, and therefore you can see some cool stuff on there. Another one, Con TV, free streaming site. Each of these is those letters in color. Those are all links that you can click on and just find out where they are. This one has editors picks, staff picks, and so forth, so it kind of direct you to the best stuff on there. Tubi TV lets you access lots of content there. Everything is neatly organized. Pluto TV, streaming service. There's one where they've got both the free and the paid version of that, but they have 250 channels that you can get live content, so live broadcasting. Everything neatly organized by genre and so forth. Zumo, free streaming platform, lets you watch live and on-demand TV with 190 channels. Fossum, which I guess is awesome with a word in front of it, has over 10,000 movies and shows from every genre and 250 channels. Now, my experience on some of these free ones is that they do have commercials, but usually the commercials are short. Sometimes, however, they're more frequent. So it's sometimes it can be a little bit discouraging, but for free, you get what you paid for. WeTV VIP sounds like the paid version there. Both popular and original content. So you're really in the mood for some Asian shows or movies, that's where to find it. WeTV, catalog of reality TVs and dramatizations. Reality TV, of course, is the stuff that's pretty much not real. Filmsy. With Filmsy, you can stream a wide variety of TV shows and movies on your smartphone, smart TV, or web browser. All manner of categories, including, again, Asia's top cinema, new arrivals, most watched and trending, and so forth. And finally, CBC Gem. Now, this one I signed up for straight away just because it presented a challenge. It's Canadian streaming service, big catalog of movies and shows, and it's meant only for people in Canada. So what you have to do to get to this one is a couple of things. First of all, you go in to sign up. You sign in with a Canadian into the website there that you'll see when you click on that, and you'll have to be able to give them a Canadian postal code. So I found that going to that website there, coolgenerator.com, you can request a Canadian postal code. So I said, well, I want a postal code somewhere in British Columbia. So it gave me a nice postal code, and I signed up for it. And then to be able to watch it, however, because it's in Canada, it'll say, oh, you're not in the right area for this. So you have to have a VPN on your device, your computer or your phone or whatever. So I use ExpressVPN, and ExpressVPN was very kind. I just went to ExpressVPN and said, log me into Canada. Log me into, I think I probably told it Toronto or somewhere and said, log me in there. And so as far as they knew at CBC, I was in Toronto and having a postal code in British Columbia, and they let me watch their stuff for free. So if you got those two things, a VPN and you want to grab a postal code there, you're ready to go on that one. So moving right along, a wise doctor once wrote, and there you go. You've got the typical joke about the doctor's handwriting. Board Panda again, funny random signs. If you check with Board Panda, you'll find all kinds of crazy stuff on there. And this one here is one that I'm going to try to demonstrate it. We'll see if it pops over correctly where it should on the computer here. But this is Mental Floss. Mental Floss was an interesting magazine and all kinds of interesting articles. They used to publish an actual print magazine like so many other people did. And like so many other people, the print magazine died. But they went online and still had this one. So I'm going to click on that and we'll see if it automatically goes to my browser. Now, are you seeing my browser image? No?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I need to do a new share. So I will go to the new share. Okay, now, are we
Yes.
seeing it now?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is called the Mental Floss Amazing Fact Generator. You can start it in various places, but you want more facts, you just click on the thing there. Polar bears gain more than 400 pounds during pregnancy. Little did we know. Click another one. According to a 2015 study, having 10 or more trees on the block can make you feel as healthy as someone who's 7 years younger. So if you don't have enough trees in your neighborhood, get out there and start planting so you can get your age going downward. According to one study, most dogs reach peak cuteness between 6 and 8 weeks old. Anyway, this goes on and on. You could sit there for a long time and click on these and have all kinds of interesting stuff. I'm going to try to click back to my presentation now and see if it goes back the same way. Are we back to? Okay, good. So we're clear now. All right. So this was another interesting article I found just recently. An easy way to instantly boost your memory and recall. This article is quoting from some neuroscience research, said that there are very easy ways to increase your memory. So you do three simple things. First of all, repeat whatever it is you're trying to memorize out loud. If it's someone's name, an address, a number, whatever, repeat it out loud. Study found that saying it out loud or just mouthing the words makes it more memorable. I find myself, if I repeat something out loud, it does help me there. Then it says, then quickly test yourself. Ask yourself, what is it I want to remember? And repeat it back again. And now you've kind of gone a second level. Found that's a low pressure technique that works. And then thirdly, on an easy way, zone out. In other words, just relax for a few minutes. Try not thinking about that same thing. Let your mind have time, your brain have time to sort of lock it in place. So rather than jumping right into another item that you want to remember or something, just zone out for a few minutes, a little daydreaming. It improves your memory without intermittent periods of lack of focus, without intermittent periods of lack of focus. Memory consolidation can't occur as efficiently. You need to have your mind kind of cleared for a little while there. So there's a little thing I've run across these. I keep finding these and passing along to my granddaughter, who's in junior in high school. Figure that she's going to need this kind of thing for memorizing things. So there you go. Now, you've probably all heard at some time about the Lascaux caves in France. These were caves that were discovered quite a few years ago to have tremendously old cave paintings, 17,000-year-old cave paintings. When they were first discovered, there was all kinds of news reports about this and about the amazing amount and quality of these paintings that go back tremendously far, which means, of course, that art is nothing new. Art goes back thousands of years. So, but you can't easily go and visit those caves anymore. For quite a long time, people were allowed to go and tour through the caves themselves. But you know, that has a tendency to damage the caves. Even just about having people walking through, even if they're not touching things or whatever, the breathing and people taking pictures and so forth can damage the caves. So now there are ways to see them without going there. You can explore virtually, take a 3D rendered virtual tour of the caves, complete with interactive features and presentation and so forth. Or you can visit in person to replica caves that were set up. I saw a video, a documentary a while back of where they were doing, how they were doing that. They were in the caves using 3D mapping to create exact reproductions of the interior of the caves, and then being able to build giant, I guess, fiberglass enclosures and so forth in the shape and size and so forth of the cave and all the wandering through it and so forth. So you can actually visit this in person in France, but again, you can explore it virtually. So examples of some of the things. Here's one of the images from the cave. These were not just line drawings and things. These were very bright and colorful images that were done, again, 17,000, back as far as 17,000 years ago. It's Europe's oldest and most important cave. Other caves with ancient art are in the same region, and the animals depicted include equines, stags, cattle, bison, felines, a bird, a bear, and a rhinoceros, which is misspelled as a rhinoceros, but that's my fault, not theirs. The cave people probably spelled it right back 17,000 years ago. I'm sure they were more literate than I am at that. I will fix that. But here's a picture of what it looks like in the reproductions of the cave. So now in this case, of course, they didn't go down to the floor with it, but they've got what the ceiling would look like if you were in that part of the cave, and the animals painted on the ceiling and so forth. So it's quite a nice thing to go through if you're to be in France. But then you can explore these virtually, the 3D rendered exploration of the caves. And here's the link to it. Again, this will be in there. We will click on this and see if we can't pop right over to it. Are we there? Looks right. Okay, we'll say
Yes.
Start the interactive visit. Takes a moment sometimes for it to come up. I'm assuming it's just a busy site because it's a couple of times I've gone in here, it popped right up immediately, and a couple of times it's had a little delay. Looks like it's delayed at this point. Well, looks like we're not going to be able to get into that. Let me try reloading it. Nope. Nope. I think that's a matter of that's on their end because like I say, I've successfully gone into that a number of times with this program. So I will now go back, and we'll have to just imagine that we have seen that. There's still apparently the possibility of visiting the caves in person, but I suspect that would be more likely if you were an archaeologist or an educator or something that had a reason that you would give them for letting you visit them in person. But this was from a website called thetravel.com. So, and when you get this presentation on the PDF, click on that, and I suspect you'll be able to open that right up. Maybe this is the wrong time or something for them to to do it. It's night over there right now, I suppose. Here's another image from inside the caves, and inside of the replica caves. It shows you where they put together this in an absolutely exactly same size and shape of what it would be inside the cave. So fairly cool thing there. Now for something completely different. Some of you may have read about this recently. NASA has been experimenting with different ways of communicating through space. Normally, they would be sending radio waves, and this is going on all the time with satellites and with various space vehicles traveling around the sun and around the solar system, and even the ones that have gone way out to the edges of the solar system. But now they're trying it transmitting through space via laser. And they decided that they would try something and to see how well it would go. So they went 19 million miles out with a satellite to send back a video, which they thought, well, what better thing to send back would be a cat video. Since so many people spend a lot of time on their computers viewing cat videos, they got cat that belonged probably to somebody at NASA. A video features Taters, tabby cat, and now they're going much farther out with these experiments now. But here is the co-pilot. Someone brought up co-pilot there. Okay, here's the video itself. The little moving item around the center of it there, I think, is indicating where the spacecraft was while it was transmitting. So that was the amazing first video transmitted through space via laser. And wouldn't you know it, it would be a cat video, but with all this nice NASA stuff all around it to make it look a lot more elegant. All right. Now, speaking of videos, this one is kind of interesting. Also, scientists were working to resuscitate a very rare bird species. So there was the most rare bird species. They had gone extinct in the wild 400 years ago. They've been hunted to extinction for their feathers and so forth. But so this team raised a new group of them from birds from zoos and decided that they would try to get them back to a working population. But one of the problems was that now, having raised these from chicks and having been raised in captivity, they didn't know anything about how they would go about migrating for warmer climates in the wintertime, because birds teach that to their young. They teach their young and lead them on the migrations. So these folks decided they wanted not only to resuscitate this particular breed of bird, but they needed to teach them how to migrate as well. And so they went through a very serious process here, and I'll show you now. The next thing is going to be the video of how they went about raising these birds and leading them on a new migration route.
Yes. Come. Yes. Oh no, we did it all wrong.
Even in a microlight. Getting
So they were imprinting on the birds that this woman was their mother, and the mother bird would lead them on the migration, and they followed. So it was a successful experiment. So theoretically, then the birds would now know how to fly back in the fall or in the summertime back to the original place. So that was just kind of an interesting little thing there. Here's one here where someone asked, we know a lot about AI these days. There's dozens now of image creating AIs. DALL-E 3 is one of the earliest ones, and it's one of the strongest ones, I guess. And it's someone asked it to create a portrait of every U.S. state, and the results were gloriously strange. This is how it sees the 50 U.S. states. The article showcases how ChatGPT and DALL-E 3 were used to create fun educational content about the states. Now, there's the link to that article. I'm sure there are many others, but this is a ZDNet link. So here's what they asked. These are the prompts. And when you're doing AI with these various chat things, you need to create a prompt that tells it exactly what it is you're looking for. The more precise the prompt, the better. So first of all, they said, draw a 16:9 picturesque view of state name, whatever state it is, showcasing the diverse landscapes and landmarks of the state. Fill the entire frame with the picture. Do not leave any border. So they said, I want pictures. Then they said, the second part was explain the 3 most interesting facts you know about the state in 10 words or less for each point. Format this as a 2 to 4 word headline, followed by 10 words or less of description. List each point as a bullet and format the headlines in sentence case, capitalizing only proper nouns, and the first word of the headline. Do not capitalize any words that are not proper nouns. Now you can see from that a good example of how precise you must be when you're talking with a chat type function. And we have this stuff available to all of us. I'm sure by now many of you have found free chat capabilities that you can use for this kind of thing. Copilot on Microsoft Copilot is one of them. But right now, here's what some of the states look like. First of all, Arizona, since that's where I am, I thought I'd look at that one. In pointing out 3 things about the state. Of course, first thing was the Grand Canyon, which is all over the place. The sunniest city, it says, is Yuma, one of the sunniest places on Earth. And it has rich native history with many Native American archaeological sites all around. And this is the image it generated from that brief little 3-line or what it was, 3 or 4-line prompt. This is the image it generated of Arizona, obviously pulling stuff from all manner of different material that was previously programmed into the AI, into DALL-E 3. So there it is, lots and lots of cacti, lots of Grand Canyon, river, railroads, and so forth. California, tech innovation hub, home to Silicon Valley, where I lived for 36 years, and tech giants. Diverse landscapes, beaches, mountains, forests, and deserts. We were able to go to the beach in February sometimes out there, which was nice. And the world's 5th largest economy rivals many countries in economic power. And here's what it came up with for California, again, based on that brief prompt. Big city, Golden Gate Bridge down below. And of course, it doesn't necessarily put everything all together into really neat pieces, but it has chunks of stuff. It's got mountains, it's got clouds and so forth. So there you go. And finally, I put in Florida, of course, because that's where everybody on the picture here is, pretty much except me, I guess. Space launch site, home to Kennedy Space Center. Longest coastline. Because of the fact that it's going down south and coming back up north, you've got the longest coastline in the contiguous U.S. and the Everglades ecosystem, unique wetland and international importance. So here's what it came up with for Florida. Now, One thing I noticed about this is that even though the first item that it had on the list of important things about Florida was the space launch site, but I don't see any space launch capability here. I just see the coast, but I don't see any of the launch towers or anything. I thought it would have put some of that in, but you've got two different parts here. You've got the part that's searching for the text and the textual information, and then you've got the part that's putting together images, and apparently they didn't agree entirely. So there you go. All right, just in case you had ever kind of wondered about this, how many times has Earth orbited the sun? Planet hurtling around the sun at more than 67,000 miles an hour, even though we don't feel it. Some of my previous programs, I've put together the information about, well, how far do you go on a typical day, or how fast are we going altogether throughout the universe, which is always weird numbers, but going around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour. And how many trips does the sun make? Well, we're 4.5 million. We figure the planet is 4.5 million years old, so that kind of gives it away for the Earth. But the other planets were not all born at the same time, and their orbits have changed over time. But 98 to 99% of the solar system's age, the orbits have been stable. So here's a little table that's in that article. It says Mercury, 4.5 billion years old. It's 88 days to go around the sun. So it's gone around the sun 18.7 billion times. So it's whizzing by all the time. Venus is slower than us, so it's got 7.3 billion. Earth is 4.5 billion. And then out to the outer planets, Neptune, with a age of 4.59 billion years, orbital period of 60,190 days, means it's only been around the sun 27.9 million times. So this could be something to bring up in a cocktail conversation someday, but it may not make you a lot of money otherwise, just knowing this. So just so you'll know. All right. Now a word about libraries.
На самом деле, очень плохая музыка.
А зачем вы пришли сюда?
Я думал, намного лучше будет это все. И очень плохая музыка, просто очень плохая музыка. Я думал, намного лучше это все будет. Сколько раз сюда ходил, было намного лучше. Но на этот раз как-то не удалось. Во-первых, народу мало, музыка не очень.
А что за направление?
А?
Что за направление?
Направление? Какое направление?
Что за направление музыки играет там?
I'm going to go back to that because it breaks up when he starts. We'll try it again here. Let's see how this goes. Now, there's a guy that's enthusiastic about libraries. He seemed to have thought the libraries were not modern, but it turns out they are. This little quick one here on factory reset. I had to do this a couple of times recently. I do work around the neighborhood with friends and neighbors and so forth, helping them with their computers and helping them clean things up and answer questions and so forth. And sometimes when they get new computers, they give me the old ones. And sometimes the old ones are still good enough to use for various things. So I would take and refurbish them and give them away or whatever. So here's just some steps for resetting a computer. I've done this twice in the last couple of weeks. Go to recovery settings and start on the resetting process. Choose whether to keep your files. This is Windows based. Choose how you want to reinstall Windows. I tell it to reinstall without saving the files and the programs, and then follow the on-screen instructions. But before I do that, just as a hint and tip, before you do that, use something like Eraser and Eraser software to get rid of any files permanently that are on there that might be something that somebody would try to pull out. I think some of that may still be left behind if you just do a factory reset. So I always do an erase first, erasing all the documents and anything else that I find on there. But then you just do this, and when you're all done, you've got a nice new computer. It's old, the battery's probably not very great. Replacing batteries in laptops is something I've done a lot of too. But it gets you back to where you can start over from scratch with a computer with somebody that didn't have one. Something that's interesting as things are moving along, there's 40% of US electricity is now emission-free. Things are moving not as fast as they need to, but there is a lot of movement in solar and natural gas and so forth. One of the ways that's happening is also that energy usage is relative flat because of improvements in electricity efficiency. For instance, when we first moved into our house here 15 years ago, we turned on the light in the kitchen and they had can lights in the ceiling. There were 10 can lights, each with a 60-watt bulb, 60-watt floodlight. So we turn on the switch in the kitchen, we get 600 watts of bulb in the ceiling. That is now 15-watt LEDs. And so it's greatly changed so that the efficiency is going up. And so the electricity is staying flat, and the production of solar and natural gas and so forth is improving. But here's what we had for 2023, as of toward the end of the year. Natural gas was still 44%. That's the part that's got to be beat down, as well as coal is 16%, which is kind of terrible. It means that 60% is still giving us emissions into the atmosphere. But wind, hydro, solar, and nuclear together is 40%. So things are moving along in the right direction. It's a ways to go, but moving along. All right, Copilot. Copilot is something that's just out. It's formerly Bing Chat, but now Copilot is a free AI program that you can get on Windows 10 or Windows 11. I'm not sure you can get it on a Mac or not, but it's on 10 and 11. It has all the same kinds of things. It has ChatGPT's backend in it. It is a backend to ChatGPT, and you can generate images with it and so forth. So I took it the other day just to try it out. Here's what you've got to do. You go to this website. If you don't already have it on your computer, you go to this website, sign in. You need to have an ID. You have to log in, an intra ID to log in, and do so on Chrome or Edge in either Windows or Mac. So you do have it on Mac. Copilot supports Microsoft Edge and other major non-Microsoft browsers, and then just start using it. So you learn how. There's websites that show you how to learn it. There's text, add an image, new topic, sources, conversation style, and so forth, all kinds of settings you can do. So what I did, just to give it a try the other day, I said, give me a screenshot of a seniors computer club meeting via Zoom. And it provided me in a few minutes, a very short period of time, these 4 images, any one of which, if I had picked, I could then further modify it, edit it to get it a little bit better. But it gave me these 4 images just in a few minutes with just this as the prompt. So writing prompts is not that difficult, but if you want really clean images, you got to spend more time at it. So that is from Copilot. Another sign from Board Panda: if life shuts a door, open it again. It's a door. That's how they work. A little philosophy there, a little life philosophy for you. Microsoft Windows 11 Start menu isn't a game changer, this article says. Microsoft has a problem, and it is Windows 10. Microsoft has a new campaign called Start Fresh Without Starting Over. And there's a video that they provided for this. They're saying the Start menu is a game changer. So let's take a look at that. First of all, we'll take a look. The announcement, I dug out the announcement for Windows 11 was October 4th of 2021. So 3.25 years ago, 3.5 years ago, but that's Windows 11.
You know, I've been kind of worried about learning how to use Windows 11, but actually, moving was super easy, and it all still feels really familiar. This new Start menu is a game changer. I can find exactly what I need in no time. And that's not the only way I can find things faster. This new File Explorer keeps me totally organized. It's so easy to access all my files. Oh yeah, this one's definitely important. Windows 11 security is up to date and built in everywhere on my PC. Everything's protected. And I can just do my thing. Moving to Windows 11 really does make the everyday easier.
So that's Microsoft's sales pitch as to why Windows 11 is so darn good. Now, here's the problem they've got. As of January of 2024, Windows 10 represents this much of the market, Windows 11 this much. So that's the real problem they've got, is that the penetration of Windows 11 is lagging sadly behind, and Windows 10 is going to lose support in October of next year. So therefore, the new menu can be a mess. A lot of people don't like it. File Explorer is pretty much the same between 10 and 11. Finding files isn't much better in 11 than versus 10. And even Copilot is available in both 10 and 11. So it's not really a big deal that 11 is that much easier to use in these areas. You are going to lose support otherwise eventually, but what I've found is that a better way to make 11 work better is by installing Start 11 version 2, which just came out recently. Now, how are we for time? Do I have a little more time here to go?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. The update includes new enhancements that let you do all kinds of nice things on the Start menu. That it eases all of the Start menu restrictions that you've got with Windows with the original Windows 11 Start menu. So let me just play this little video for you here.
Introducing Start 11 V2. With 50 new features and 3 new Start menu styles, there's something for everybody to love. Let's take a look at the Pro style or professional style that looks good at home or the office. On the right side, you can find your quick links, and on the left side that we call the app canvas, which is fully customizable, you can create your own custom layout with groups, tabs, and a whole lot more. By clicking the little plus sign, you can easily add these items directly to the app canvas, or with a right click, you can customize the appearance and a whole lot more. New with this release is icon tinting. With a couple clicks, you can completely customize the visual appearance of the icons, quickly adding a splash of color or just creating uniformity across your professional style. Looking at some of the other items, the app style is the best layout for if you just want to get into your applications quickly, giving you direct access to your app list and of course that fully customizable application canvas. And the launcher style, which is the third new style with Start 11 V2, brings a bit of a mobile feel to your desktop, looking like an application launcher you might find on a mobile operating system. Another great feature in the V2 release are taskbar pins. This lets you pin files, folders, and even a menu to the taskbar. If you're looking for direct access to a file or folder, taskbar pins have you covered. In this scenario, I have pinned my downloads folder to the desktop for quick access to everything that goes right into the downloads folder without having to open File Explorer. This saves you time and gives you direct access to the content you need fastest. Another great visual update in this release allows you to round the taskbar. With a full fidelity set of controls, you can completely customize how your taskbar appears on your desktop. Do you want a floating design? Do you want rounded corners? You can adjust it all with Start 11 V2 to dial in that perfect personalization and customization settings that Start 11 is known to include. In this release, there are also a couple quality of life updates. You can now back up all of your settings to a file, restore them from that file. You can also reset the settings of Start 11 V2 if needed, and you can also clear your search history and information right from that panel. Another great feature in this release is Everything. If you're not familiar with Everything, it is a third-party search tool that allows you to search, well, everything. And we've now included the results natively in the Start menu for when you're using Everything on your device. With more than 50 enhancements landing in the Start 11 V2 release, there is something for everybody. Make sure to head on over to stardock.com to learn more or download a free trial.
So I've installed it on my computers, and it actually is really cool. You can add, like he said, you can add, not only add, like, for instance, the downloads folder or the documents folder to the taskbar, you can add it to the Start menu as well. So you can get the things that you use the most often right up on front when you pop when you click on the Start button. And it's for $6.99. It's not going to exactly break the bank, so it's a reasonable price for what it gives you. Little quick thing here on passwords. There's 2 passwords you should remember. First of all, assuming you've got a password manager, which you should have, you've got your master password. If you lose that, you've lost access to all your passwords. You don't want to do that. But in case, just on the off chance that you might lose that password, make sure you've also memorized the email account password, so that if you can't get into your password manager, you can still go into your accounts, because you can go into password reset on your accounts. But you need to know your email account password, whether it's Gmail or whatever else. Just make sure you memorize one password for your Gmail. So 2 passwords: password manager password and your email password. Now this one here is another little quick one here. They used AI to reconstruct the Colossus of Rhodes and all these other interesting things. So if we go to that one just for a moment and go to this website and go through this article, and it's got what AI has come up with as what it would thought to be the ancient wonders of the world would be, the pyramids at the time of their being built, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, and so forth. So just another interesting little thing to take a look at when you've got a moment. Now, I think you folks are, let's see, this is a great resource that I'm aware of. I've just come aware of not too long ago, but you guys are probably more aware of it than I am. I think it's on your website, the Geeks on Tour. Is that something that you guys play with over there? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So Geeks on Tour. I've been thinking maybe getting a club membership for this to be able to share it out, but I'm not sure if that's a reasonable thing to do. But it's $58 a year for Geeks on Tour. It looks like they've got a great deal of material out there. And there's the website. One thing I noticed was when I went in to sign up to get my email address on the list, I used Firefox, and their Firefox webpage for signing up for the email had a blank space. I had to go over to Chrome to do it because they had programmed it not to work with Firefox. But anyway, here then is one more of those signs, which is one of these that you might not think you'd need, but I think I found 2 of them as well, actually. Sidewalk ends. Seems like you wouldn't need to have that put in front of your face to know that the sidewalk is ending, since it's not there anymore. But anyway, that is the end. I said when I first last emailed you guys, I said that I had this presentation that ran an hour and a half. I modified it quite a lot to make it make it about an hour. If you wanted more, I could keep going because I put the rest of it after the end. So it's up to you.
Huey, do we have time?
It's up to you.
No,
Well,
no,
we don't have time?
no.
Okay. All right. Well, JB, that is a fantastic presentation that you just gave us. It really is. Thank
Thank
you. Thank you so much. I know we're all muted, so you can't hear us clapping, but we're
Yeah,
clapping
yeah.
like mad.
Mm.
But I
All
know
right.
there must be some people that have questions. So if you'd like to take a few questions,
Sure, sure.
okay. Go ahead. I can't see any of you
Yeah.
except me and Huey and Jim. But you want to get us back on our main page, and then we can see if somebody raises their hand and has a question for JB.
JB, would you stop the share?
I will. Yeah. All right.
There you
There we
go.
go.
Yeah.
So if you have a question, please raise your hand.
Trying to get it up.
Oh, Margaret.
Yes, I wanted to say thank you very much, JP. I really enjoyed that presentation. I especially liked, I saw the map as well on the sinking of the East Coast. I was very intrigued by that because I do a lot with climate change. So I found that to be very, very interesting. And I love some of the other techniques that you showed us. So I really appreciated it. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I sit when I eat lunch every day, I sit and have my tablet there and I go through a Flipboard and I pick out articles. So I get a great many of my articles from Flipboard plus other sites, but I then save them in Evernote. And then when it's time to put together the next presentation, I go through Evernote and pick out what I have not used yet. So anybody else?
Well, I can see that Jim Gould has his hand up and he is from Geeks on Tour. So go ahead.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to say thank you, JV, for the shout out. That was very nice. That was a very good, very, very good presentation up there. I really enjoyed it.
All right. You're
A
welcome.
lot of fun
I will-
stuff, but yeah, you can afford $58 for the year. It's worth it.
Yeah, I've given this already to our own, this presentation already to our own club, and I'll probably end up presenting it elsewhere as well. So that'll be in there each time. So I'll get you a little shout out.
There you go. You're going to have to go to all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Anybody else?
I know
Huey
it's
has
not-
a question. Huey has a question.
I just, again, like Jim, want to thank you for a good presentation, a lot of interesting sites, and appreciate the shout out for Tech for Seniors.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, this is the kind of thing that doesn't necessarily lead to a lot of questions of content because it's many different topics in one place. And like I say, this is the number 80 of these programs that I've done over time. So there've been a lot of fun stuff in there. There'll be more to come.
We've got representatives from a lot of user groups on here, and that might give them some ideas to do some homegrown programs from each of their groups, just by going to different websites and showing what's out there.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I use Flipboard on the tablet, and you can set up Flipboard so there's a section that will be for you, and it builds over time, giving things that are related to what your interests are. So I find things related to Windows, updates and software things and all these different kind of websites. So pretty soon it starts giving you stuff that's related to what you've already done, and so it takes a little while.
In there.
Yeah, I see. I thought that was over.
It's still going. If they don't stop, I'm gonna leave just shortly anyway.
It takes a little while to get it going to where you've got the stuff coming in that you can use, but I've got so much of it now backed up that I could do probably 20 more of these without having to repeat anything. So, but yeah, it's it's a good way to do something that's interesting. It's got, like I said, it's something for everybody.
So we can have you back often, right, JB?
Yeah. I'll be doing, I'm going to be taking a little time off from this because I've got it's kind of going to mess up my schedule. When I was, that OLLI that we mentioned, Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, is a class that I gave last fall, a 6-part class on Android phones and tablets. And so I'm going to do that over the next 6 months for our club. But it's six parts of about 2 hours each. So it's going to prevent me from doing any more of these. But I've got previous ones that I could bring up as well. So it's something that we can work with and get some of them back online again.
Wonderful.
They don't age entirely.
Yeah, like most IT stuff does. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions. So again, JB, I want to say thank you so much for enlightening us tonight. It was just fantastic.
All right. Well, you're welcome, and thank you for kindly viewing what I did.